The Sirui company, yes, this is the correct pronunciation, not Sirui, but Sirui, a wise person. The manufacturer themselves, they told me the correct pronunciation.
I know it's Sirui when you spell it, but in reality it's Sirui.
They're continuing to rock the market with full-frame Aurora lineup of lenses, and this is their first autofocus 85mm f1.4 lens. Let's review that. What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin and you're watching No Limits on channel, and right now of course this lens is filming this talking head shot portion of the video. So let's first have a look at the kit and the features of the lens, and then we'll take a look at the optical performance of the lens. So the Aurora 85mm full frame lens comes in this pretty nice box, and we have a special pouch which you can mount onto your belt, a very nice touch, and the lens itself has a lot of different features. It comes with a lens hood, of course, we have the clickable and declickable aperture ring. We also have an AF/MF switch and the autofocus lock button. It's customizable. We have the 67mm filter thread, a very common and popular one, and we have the weather sealing as well as the USB Type-C port, and I did update the firmware when I got the lens, and all in all the lens feels not huge and it balances well with all of my cameras. And in terms of image quality guys, almost all the test footage was shot at f1.4. Of course, I'm still having pretty good sharpness with this lens, and the bokeh quality is simply amazing. Just look at those bokeh balls, they are beautiful. The background separation is crazy good, and all in all guys, I'm very satisfied with the results that I'm getting with this Sirui lens. So now we're having a look at the optical performance, vignettes, sharpness and distortion. We have a very slight pincushion distortion, and it's much more preferable for portrait lenses like 85mm. In terms of sharpness in the center, we have the best sharpness at f4, but f2 and f2.8 are more than usable. f1.4 is usable as well. In the corners of the shot, we get slight vignette at f1.4, it gets much better by f2 and 2.8, and the extreme sharpness is at f4. But I'm not sure guys who uses the portrait lens for the sharpest corners, and do you even need sharp corners? I don't know. So let's have a closer look at the minimum focusing distance, and it is 85 centimeters. That's a very common thing for 85mm lenses. And here is the reproduction of the Sirui anamorphic autofocus lens. Now we're testing the autofocus on the Sony ZV-E1 camera. The settings are at max for the speed and sensitivity, and you can take a look at the screen recording of my camera, how it tracks me from the back, from the front. And now let me run towards the camera. The autofocus is pretty fast, it's reliable. We can see a slight focus breathing effect when I get in the shot and out of the shot. But all in all guys, I'm really satisfied with the results of the autofocus. It's not blazing fast like the Sony G Master 85 f1.4 Mark II, but it's more than doable for an 85mm lens, for portrait lens. It's a decent result. I also did compare this lens to my Yongnuo 85mm f1.8 lens, and here's the difference in background blur and separation between f1.4 and f1.8 in full height portrait. We do see a slight difference, but it's not that dramatic, and here is the difference in a more close-up portrait. We still get more background blur and separation at f1.4, but guys, f1.8 is also pretty nice, and if you want the most background blur, the f1.4 would be a preferable option. The lens does suffer from focus breathing, but guys, almost all the 85mm portrait lenses do have pretty heavy focus breathing, so it's an okay situation. As far as the chromatic aberrations go, they are okay at f1.4, they get much better by f2. At f2.8 they're almost non-existent, and if there were some chromatic aberrations, just a tiny bit, you get none of those at f4. And here are all four apertures side by side, f1.4, f2, f2.8 and f4 side by side. Basically guys, to me the chromatic aberrations are not a problem. In terms of flares performance, we do get a slight loss of contrast, but all in all the flares are pretty nice and neutral. We do have some slight light leak from the top when the light source is exactly above the lens, but it's also a very common performance for Chinese manufacturers and for Chinese lenses. It's an okay performance in my opinion, and if you stop down to f2 we get slightly better results, but all in all the performance in terms of flares is great. And you do have a lens hood in the kit, which is a nice touch, so use that if you are afraid of flares. This lens comes with 15 bladed aperture, and here is the stopping down from f1.4 to f8, and you can see that the bokeh balls, they retain the circular shape throughout the entire range almost, and this bokeh quality is simply crazy good. I don't see any major issues aside from slight cat's eye shaping. Almost all the 85 lenses do have this issue. And here is the difference between f1.4 and f1.8 in terms of light gathering at night. There is a difference, but it's not dramatic, and here is the chroma smearing effect. It's the corner of the shot, it's getting smeary colors for the bright sources of light, but it disappears by f2.2. And then we start to get pretty dramatic and pronounced sun stars, especially when you go from f5.6 to f16. You get very big, huge, multiple rays sun stars, so if you are into sun stars, this lens will provide you with those. And the first lens that comes to my mind in terms of the competition is the Meike 85mm f1.4 lens as well. It's a Chinese manufacturer as well, but we get much smaller, much more compact lens for the Sirui Aurora lens, and it is also slightly better in terms of image quality in my opinion. So here I am showing you some sample shots from the Meike and from Aurora as well, and in my opinion the Aurora is a better bang for a buck considering the size, the weight, and the image quality. To conclude, guys, I'm really happy that Sirui is starting to put out a lot of autofocus lenses for full-frame cameras. I'm really hoping to see the 35mm, the 24mm, and the 50mm full-frame lenses, the fast ones with great autofocus, because the image quality is simply superb with the Aurora 85 f1.4. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask them down below, and if you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notifications bell. And right here I have my full review of the world's first autofocus lens, anamorphic lens by Sirui 40mm t1.8 lens. See you there, guys. Take care. Bye.